So is the Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves movie going to be the next big Hollywood flop? Let's talk about that today here in the Geek Corner. Hey there everyone, it's Rev Kev. Welcome back to the channel. We are celebrating here as a community, getting over 2,000 subscribers. Really means the world to me. And what I'm doing, if you go to this video link here, and in the comments of that video, put in, I've never read Dragonlance. And you can put that in even if you've read it. I'm giving away Dragonlance trilogy books that I'm going to be doing the draw for this weekend. So jump over to that video and put in the comments, never read Dragonlance, for a chance to win. So we're just a few short weeks away from the release of the Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves movie, and I'm gonna be a little bit pessimistic here and just predict out of the gate that this is going to be a massive financial flop for Paramount. I mean, I was doing some reading about this morning, and just the fact that this movie has a budget of $151 million. That's a lot of money, and that's a lot of money to try to make your money back as a studio. And so I want to talk a little bit about the original Dungeons and Dragons movie that came out in 2000. I just recently rewatched this, and it was terrible. Like, I thought it was terrible in 2000. You know, this movie stars Marlon Wayans and Justin Whalen and Jeremy Irons. There were some really good actors in this movie, and this movie flopped. And this movie only had a total budget of $45 million, and it didn't even make that back internationally. Like, around the world, this movie did not make $45 million. And when you contrast the two movies together, I think they have the exact same formula. So let's unpack that a little bit. First and foremost is the campy comedy style. Now, I've heard other people talk about this saying, oh, I really like that feel. I really like that type of, comedy. It just feels like it's my friends getting together to play Dungeons and Dragons. Now, I'm all for that. I think it's great when friends get together and play any kind of board game or any tabletop role-playing game. I think that's great, and the laughs that happen around the table are amazing. But then to try to make that into a movie, to capture that same feel that you get around the table, it's massively limiting on your target audience. If you've never played a game like this before, if you've never played a board game before, there's just not enough people in that slice who relate to that to make up $151 million. That's a lot of money, and that's not even the advertising dollars, right? So right away, it has the same comedic feel, which did not work in the first one. It had a big name as the villain in the original one. Jeremy Irons is a phenomenal actor. Big name actor playing the villain. And here now we got Hugh Grant, another big name, great actor as the villain. And from the scenes that I've seen in the trailers and in the clips that they're releasing, it's feeling like he's going to fall flat as well. And so they, again, same formula with the villain. I don't think it's going to catch on. Special effects. Again, I'm hearing people say, oh, the special effects are so amazing. They're so amazing. They're not all that great. I find special effects, especially over the last few years with these big special effects movies, are really falling flat. And what I've seen of the dragons and the scenes so far, this Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves movie it looks like it's going to fall flat as well too. So the same pattern that we saw in the 2000 Dungeons and Dragons movie looks to be the exact same pattern that's coming in the new one. And to make matters worse, the directors are falling into the very bad habit of insulting their audience before the movie comes out. Let's check out this article that just came out on Variety.com. Now, just a little preamble. I've read the whole article. I'm not just taking one statement out of context. And so let's look at the statement that they make where they're insulting their target audience or a potential audience. right out of the gate. Let's look at this.
Okay, so here we have the article on Variety.com saying, Building Dungeons & Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, How Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daley Brought the Ultimate Nerd Property to Movie Theaters. And so we got this interview here with Adam Very, with the directors of the movie. So it goes into a number of different things, about the making of the film, kind of setting up the stage a little bit, and things like that. And then it kind of goes into their relationship as directors. What does it look like? What do they remember about playing Dungeons and Dragons for the first time? Their experience with the property and things like that. Now, this is where, honestly, if I was a movie executive, like if I was a company like Paramount or Disney or Marvel, really, I put gag orders on everyone who works for me. I really, really would. I would make them kind of keep your mouth shut on political, divisive topics, because it just impacts the bottom line so often. Like here we got this talking about here. It says, in that vein, I was really struck in Honor Among Thieves that the lead female characters, Michelle Rodriguez, Holga, and Sophia Lillis as Doric, are at the forefront of the action scenes, and the men are often hanging back. Now, just that statement on its own, no problem with it. I really have no problem with it. And this is where I think geek culture takes a lot of flack, where people think, no, well, you're misogynistic, or you just don't like women, or things like that, which is so not true in geek culture. We love Sarah Connor. We love Princess Leia. We love, Laura Croft. Like, strong, great, well-written women characters. No problem with it. Take front and center. Not a problem. But it's comments like this, right, saying, okay, well, it was not an attempt at wokeness on our part, right? We swear to God it wasn't. So they're trying to be defensive because, again, with the whole, you go too woke, you're just not going to make a lot of money, right? And so they're kind of getting ahead of that. And it says, we swear to God it wasn't, we're not trying to be woke. Like, we like that Holga is the bruiser that does the dirty work for Edgin. That's Chris Pine's character. And he doesn't like to get his hands dirty. But again, great. I have no problem. I think that's funny. But he goes, but we also love emasculating leading men. Look at this. We also love emasculating leading men. Oh, but not for woke reasons. No. Okay? Just because it's funny. And it's fun. And it's fresh. Now that statement right there is hilarious to me because, okay, sure, sometimes it can be funny, but it's definitely not fresh. This is old news. This has been happening in TV shows, like, since the 90s. Like, go back and watch the biggest sitcoms. Go back and watch Friends. Go back and watch Everybody Loves Raymond. All the big movies. Like, making fun of men is not new at all. In fact, it's gotten really, really old. Right? And then they kind of go on and talk about Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland, how we just like our male heroes to be challenged and not simply heroic. Now, this is different. I'm all for this statement that they make here, that we don't, we want them to be challenged, with not just that they're perfect right out of the gate, right? And I'm all for that. I think that's a great way to write any character. Any character should have challenges. Any character should have difficulty and have to grow as a character. But this word emasculating, like when you look up the definition of this word here, right, to emasculate, right, is to deprive a man of his male role or identity, right? It's to make someone weaker or less effective, right? So it's this intentionality of removing kind of this male masculinity or allowing, or basically the whole putting men in their place type of attitude. It's just a recipe for disaster. And when you release statements like this 2 weeks before your movie comes out, you're just not encouraging people who want a good action movie, people who care about characters, people who care about the story. You just go, you know what? I'm not going to go see that. I'm going to wait until it's available on streaming, and Yeah, again, if I was an executive producer, if I was Paramount, gag order. You stop saying things like this. Stop insulting your audience. Stop attacking your fans. Stop it, stop it, stop it. We know that this is going to lose money because of it, and I just get surprised every time that this happens, and you can pretty much guarantee that there will be a follow-up video by the movie company blaming the fans that it didn't make any money when they had poorly written characters, poorly executed special effects, poorly executed comedy, and making statements like this. I think it's just a recipe for a flop.
So those are my thoughts about the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Honestly, I wasn't really planning on seeing it in the theaters anyways. This movie is going to be on Paramount Plus within 8 weeks. It just is. It's not going to be in the theaters long. It's just not going to grab a big audience. I think everyone's trying to find the next Lord of the Rings. Everyone's trying to find the next Harry Potter. And I don't think this is going to be it. I wish it would be, but I really don't think it will be. So I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you think Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves is going to do well? Do you think it's going to flop? Put that down in the comments. And again, thank you for being a part of the community. Until the next video, God bless you, and we'll talk to you soon.